Hello everyone, and today the Marauder specs got released. Oh joy, you get to take a look at the Marauder. You can tell how thrilled I am to take a look at the Sentinel / Marauder. And if you go to the page on swotor.com, if you look at the developer blog, if you go and look at the picture of the Jedi Sentinel, she looks so thrilled to be a Sentinel. You know what she's thinking in that picture, don't you? She's thinking, why didn't I roll a Guardian? I mean, come on, I could have been a Guardian, I could have had some heavy armor, I could have been a tank, I could have been, you know, I could have got quicker group finder queues, people would actually want me in the group. But, you know, we'll try to be objective because people love their Marauders. I know how much you love your smashy. And yeah, people always tell me, why do you pick on Marauders? All Marauders are not bad. That's true. It's only 99% of them are bad. But then most of the time, I can only talk about the people I encounter in flashpoints in my defense, and 99% of the time, it is Marauders that cause problems. It's Marauders that pull ahead of the tank. It is Marauders that stand in shit. It is Marauders who die. So again, that's what I encounter. I'm only speaking from experience, not speaking from prejudice. I am speaking from prejudice, but I'm mostly speaking from experience. That's why I hate them. That's why we hate them, of course. And yes, the majority of Marauder players are idiots. There are the occasional smart one that slips through the net, or maybe they just misclicked the smart one and hit Marauder and thought, screw it, I don't want to be a Juggernaut, I don't want to go and reroll because it's permanent. You know, maybe that's the case. Maybe they're just lazy people, or the smart people. Smart but lazy, there you go. I'll never make a compliment about a Marauder player. We never will. We never will. But let's get on with this video, and let's get on with the changes. So one of the changes is Riposte is no longer available for the Sentinel. Who cares, really? Never used it, never cared about it as a Sentinel, so it's gone. So it's one less thing to have on the action bar. I don't think I even had Riposte on my action bar, I don't even remember. I never used it anyway. It was one of those things you just never used as a Sentinel. It's gone, we won't miss it. Who cares, really? I mean, it's good that it's gone. Also, Crippling Throw is gone. Again, this was used sparingly, I guess. PvP, it might have had its uses because it reduced healing received, but it was kind of useless. It was nice to have an extra ranged ability though. You know, it was nice to have that little extra range if we ever had to be at range. But we've got our Twin Saber Throw, our Blade Storm, and our Dispatch, so we got 3 things to use if we ever find ourselves in the situation where we have to be at range for one reason or another. It happens sometimes in boss fights like Raptus, when he was doing his big lightning attack. Basically you wanted to be at range, and if you still wanted to do damage, you know, you could throw a few things at him. Crippling Throw you used occasionally then, just for something to do really. But so the healing debuff is being moved to Leg Slash. Again, Leg Slash, PvP thing, you never really use that in PvE really, Leg Slash. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that. So we're getting, all Sentinels are getting Focus Slash, which again, refunds 1 focus. Again, I think every Sentinel took that anyway. Valor as well, increases the centering build. So again, these are things that every Sentinel took in the skill tree. These are currently in the game. Also, Cauterize is going to be a Watchman only skill. Again, we're not going to miss that, really, to be honest. We never really used it and anything else other than Watchman. Essentially, it was kind of pointless really in any of the other trees. It did so little damage in any of the other trees anyway, and it was not useful for our rotation. So let's get to Watchman, and let's see. So they're getting a new passive, which makes Dual Form and Merciless Stacks build up twice as fast. Good, because Dual Form stacks up. It stacks up to 6 times currently. No mention whether they're going to increase this. Did increase this last time. Basically, the higher stacks of Dual Form, the more damage your abilities did. So it was always building those stacks at the beginning of a fight. It was kind of annoying as a Watchman Sentinel. So again, building these stacks quicker, and the Merciless Stacks decrease the cooldown of Merciless Slash. So again, building them up faster, because Merciless Slash is your basic filler ability. You want to have it on cooldown. You're going to be using Merciless Slash a lot. So yeah, we get again the dot spreading, which is present in a lot of the other specs, is going to be present here. So Force Sweep or Smash is going to be used to spread your burning effects. Spread some of the burning effects, doesn't list which burning effects that are going to be spread. Is it going to be Cauterize? Is it going to be the new ability, which is Force Melt? Again, it's Force Melt, it's another dot. Force Melt calls upon the power of the Force Melt target upon it to burn for elemental damage over 15 seconds. It's another dot to put on, basically. So, you know, nice to have another dot in our dot spec. We didn't have a lot of dots, really. We had our Cauterize, and then we had the thing that set our lightsabers on fire. I can't remember what that's called now. So you had that thing which turned your melee attacks, your next thing, it was your next 2 melee attacks into dots. So having that extra dot is going to be useful for us. And again, we can use it to spread out our burning effects. So I guess it will cause it to burn. So again, we get our dots on, and then we're going to smash to spread those dots. So again, it's keeping it in line with all the other class. Dot spreading is one of the major themes for dot specs in 3.0. Every other class has the method of doing it. So again, just being brought in line with all those other classes. Cauterize doesn't have a cooldown anymore. It's going to be interesting. They've said that players will need to successfully juggle 3 different burns, each of which has a unique duration, and keep Merciless Slash on cooldown to maximize damage output. Well, yeah, Merciless Slash was always going to be on cooldown. It's a decent damage ability, but again, you're going to have to juggle them around. Cauterize, we're not going to spam it because its initial damage is not that great, so we're definitely not going to be spamming it. And we don't need to multi-dot on other targets because we can just use our sweep. So I don't see the point in Cauterize not having a cooldown, I guess. You're just gonna be putting it in at a regular interval. I can't remember how long it takes. Don't remember, to be honest with you. Spent most of my time in combat in 2.0, so excuse me. So I spent most of my time as a combat marauder in 2.0 because of the accuracy cap thing, getting accuracy caps. I eventually got my Sentinel accuracy cap. So I don't really play the Marauder that often, that's why I've never really done Watchman, so I don't really know how long it goes for. So we'll move on to combat. Ooh, combat, nice. Happy little spec that we got. Combat, I like combat. Combat was fun. So what do we get now? We get a passive ability that reduces the focus consumed by Blade Rush and Cyclone Slash. Yes! Now, there we go. That's what we want. We want Cyclone Slash. Some AoE. That's what we want. Good ability. Also, during Zen, we get a new passive ability that triggers our Aturu form, which is good. So all targets damaged by Cyclone Slash. Oh, that's going to be fun. Going to give us that little bit more AoE. So AoE is going to be the focus of combat. Not Watchman's getting nice AoE dots, and Folk Combat is getting again a nice AoE. So it's going to trigger our lightsaber form on all targets damaged by Cyclone Slash. There's going to be a lot of AoE situations, I imagine, in 3.0. Maybe be a lot of ads. Get prepared to fight a lot of ads, because there's a lot of new AoE things coming in. So also we get Force Health. It's come from Focus Spec, so it's going to help us out with Force Generation, I guess. I can't remember what it's called. What does Force Health actually do? Don't know, I'll have to look it up in game actually to see what that did, because I've never played Focus for a long time. It's been a long time since I've played Focus. I think I leveled Focus and this was my first character, so I played Focus at launch. That was the last time I played it, which is getting renamed now to Concentration now. Which, yeah, it's the same thing really, it's just longer to say. Thanks BioWare. So what else are we getting? We're getting Crushing Blast, which is a force attack, force energy, dealing energy damage. The blast stuns target standard and weak enemies for 5 seconds. So it's basically it's going to replace Blade Storm essentially. Yeah, it's going to replace that. So it shares a cooldown with Blade Storm. So it's going to it's just going to replace it, I'd imagine. So yeah, Precision Slash doesn't ignore the global cooldown, but it deals more damage. Of course, Precision Slash was always the key to making this spec work. It did remove the, well, it gave your next attacks for the next 4.5 seconds. It made them ignore 100% of the target's armor. So there was always those Precision Slash windows that you had. This is being now increased to 6 seconds instead of 4.5. So, and also they are adding that Alacrity is going to increase this window. So maybe Alacrity, we are going to be looking at, might be looking at Alacrity, because that was the key to DPS in this spec, was making the most of the Precision Slash window. You would always use Master Strike. That was always your gimme, because Master Strike was your highest single target damage ability, so you would always use that in Precision Slash. The key to it was always clipping Master Strike, cutting it off just before it finished, or just when the last tick of damage went. I can't remember when this was. I think it was like 2.5 seconds into it or something like that. So you would clip it early, and then you would have a choice basically. It depended if you had the proc, you would use Dispatch. Or if you didn't have the proc on Dispatch, if you had the proc on Blade Storm, you would use Blade Storm. Or if you didn't have any procs, you would use Twin Saber Throw. Tended to be a nice damaging ability, so you would always get that. You'd always get like 2 Precision Slash windows. But there was one that was your guaranteed damage, which was your Master Strike, and either any of those abilities that we just mentioned on proc. And then you had the proc window, which is if you would wait until you got Blade Storm and Dispatch procking. Dispatch, of course, you could get the proc to use it to any health. Dispatch was your finisher. You would generally use this as a... You would use that as you had like a proc window and a guaranteed window. So you would generally be waiting to get both of them procking. Those 2 procs on Blade Storm and Dispatch. And then you would get your Precision Slash off again, and you would use those 2 abilities. Again, you'd probably use Twin Saber Throw again, because it was good for... did a good amount of damage anyway, but reducing the target's armor made it do way more damage. So the Precision Slash windows are going to be extended with Alacrity. Ooh, that's going to be fun. We're going to take Alacrity, so... Again, we will be taking Alacrity because we will want to make the most of that. Again, it will depend on how much Alacrity we need to extend the window. If it becomes too much Alacrity to extend it by maybe a fraction of a second, it's not going to be worth it. Because we don't want to lose out on things like Surge. Basically, Surge and Crit. We want our accuracy to be at cap. Apparently, accuracy is going to get to cap a lot quicker right now, because things are going to have more accuracy in them. Gear is said to have more accuracy in 3.0. So now it leads us to the final spec, and the spec that needed the most work, which was Focus. So now what's it going to be called in the Juggernaut? It's going to be called Fury. Ooh, Rage to Fury. What's the point in that, really? It's the same thing, you know, why rename it? Why rename it Concentration to Focus? I think everyone's still going to refer to it as Focus just because it's easier to say, really. Focus or Concentration. You know, I guess. So what are we getting? We are getting Focused Bursts, which again is another force attack. Deals kinetic damage. Doesn't say much, doesn't say what kind of damage it's going to do. Concentrated Slice is going to be attacks the target for significant weapon damage, attacks with both weapons of dual wielding. So it's another melee attack. I don't know how this is going to figure into our rotation. So yeah, Focus Burst is... Alright, so Focus Burst and Force Sweep are going to be the auto crit, I guess. Because it says concentration skills that affect Force Sweep now also affect Force Burst. So I guess we'll be using, if we're in a single target situation, we will get an auto crit on force burst instead of force sweep. So again, it changes our rotation, it makes us less smash spammy. So that's good. I mean, it's good to see we've got a single target DPS thing in this, which is going to be more effective. So it caused force burst to replace force sweep in the single target. Yeah, that's what they're doing basically. They've given us a big single target hit instead of. So if we're in an AoE situation, we're going to use force sweep. If we're in a single target situation, we are going to use force burst basically. That's what they're going to do, just going to swap those two out. Pretty interesting to see that we're getting a high damage single target thing, but that's really it. Also you gain a new passive that temporarily increases your defenses. Yeah, that's what we talk about when we talk about survivability. We don't talk about a crappy little 0.5% of your health heal. That's what we want. We want more defenses. It increases our defenses after using concentrated slice, which is kind of annoying to say, really. So yeah, it's good. So it's going to buff your defenses after using concentrated slice. Pretty interesting, the Marauder, actually. They're pretty good changes. I like combat the best. I quite like those changes. Watchman, there's nothing really much there. Concentration looks kind of interesting. I think you'd have to test concentration out. You know, concentration might have a go. Probably have a go at combat first, and then test out concentration when you eventually get your Marauder to 60. The new utilities that we're getting is camouflage is now a purge. We're getting expunging camouflage. Camouflage removes all cleansable effects when activated. It's good that we're getting a cleanse. Maybe we'll get... Yeah, see, we're going to become useful now on Nerfa Nightmare and not a burden to the healers. If we're doing Nerfa, we are going to be pretty useful to them. Also, we get Just Pursuit, which again reduces the force cost of leg slash. So using a target already slowed by your leg slash, it immobilizes that target. Yep, the immobilizing effect cannot occur more than once every 10 seconds. Again, PvP thing. I'm not going to be using that very much in PvE, I guess, because we don't really... Immobilizing our targets is kind of pointless in PvE because they're still going to be able to hit us at melee range. It's just going to immobilize them, it's not going to stun them. So again, it's kind of pointless in PvE. So that's a PvP thing. So again, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting changes, actually. I quite like these changes to the Marauder. Does it make me want to play one? Hell no. Will it stop the majority of Marauder players being idiots? No. They're still going to leap in ahead of the tank. I'm sorry, but for those of you who love Marauders, I still hate them. I was doing a pug group yesterday with my Vanguard tank, and the Marauder pulled the first boss. Before everyone was down, clicked the button. Before I had even dropped down from getting the last key card, I was still at about 20% health when he pulled the first boss. So I still hate Marauders and screw them. So thank you for joining me, and if you're a Marauder, fuck off. Goodbye.